Folks, welcome into That Betting Show, March 7th, 2019, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs right here at sportsbookreview.com. He's Teddy Savransky. Give him a follow on Twitter at Teddy_covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at Right Side VP. A lot going on right now on my monitors right now, Teddy, as we film Breakfast in the Big South with Presbyterian and Radford teeing it up right now. What a time to be alive in March Madness. But a little bit of history last night, Teddy. LeBron passes Michael Jordan in points. And then the Nuggets promptly pass the Lakers in points and pick up a victory. Hot topic of the day, LeBron passes Michael Jordan. Greatest of all time? Hey, doesn't matter to us gamblers if you're not cashing tickets, Teddy.
Yeah, and that's the bottom line, is that, okay, he's been around a long time, and passing Jordan is a legitimate milestone. We'll give LeBron credit. We will not give his current team credit for their current form. The Lakers stunk last night. Again, nothing new, nothing different. We're talking about the worst point spread team in the NBA. Are they tied with Golden State at or near the bottom? But the bottom line is LeBron can get all the records he wants, and he deserves them. LeBron is as good or better than an NBA player I've ever seen. And I watched Jordan in his prime. And LeBron's been doing it for longer than Jordan did at a truly elite level. All that being said, Lakers stink. And there's money to be made betting against them right now. We saw it again last night.
No, I mean, just a porous effort right off the bat. We talked yesterday on That Betting Show about what you might be getting out of the Lakers at this time, and sort of like, the air is already out of the balloon. They got taken right from jump in the first quarter. Easy victory all the way through with a cover for the Nuggets. We'll see how the Nuggets can add up, still fighting for that number one overall seed in the Western Conference. The march to madness today, Teddy, as we continue to welcome in teams. Just think next week we're going to have multiple games on during the day, Monday through Friday. Should be a lot of fun. We welcome in the Metro Atlantic Conference, the MVC, and also the West Coast Conference here. If we take a look at some quick favorites there in the Metro Atlantic, Iona plus 230, Quinnipiac plus 260, Siena plus 265. In the Missouri Valley Conference, Loyola Chicago. Everybody remembers Loyola Chicago from last year. Also with Drake plus 350, Southern Illinois plus 400. And the WCC, should I say, the favorite in the conference is Gonzaga minus 1250. Good to have basketball all the way through now, Teddy.
It sure is. I'm telling you, next week is as fun for bettors and potentially as profitable for bettors as any week of the year. There'll be multiple games on every day while we record. Maybe not Monday. But the bottom line is this is super fun. Arch Madness, forget March Madness. Arch Madness from the Missouri Valley Conference. But It's worth noting, in the Metro Atlantic Conference, in the Missouri Valley, there's no automatic bids. The team that's going to win that is going to get the bid, and that's their one-bid leagues. If Gonzaga loses, and they're minus 1250 to win the conference tournament. Mm-hmm. But if somebody gets hot, if San Fran or St. Mary's or San Diego or whoever knows knocks the Zags off, there's one team that's off the bubble not getting a bid because Gonzaga is getting a bid. That's what you want to pay attention to, in my mind, from a fan perspective, is watch the bubble teams get eliminated one by one as conferences where teams are locks. Those teams get eliminated, and they get two bids instead of one. West Coast Conference certainly has that possibility.
Yep, some of these conferences yet to tee up their conference tournaments, most taking place Power 5 conferences next week, Teddy. But one team that a little bit shaky confidence-wide heading down the stretch, Marquette, Teddy. Last three games that they played have blown leads with under 5 minutes to go. Happened again last night. The marquee game about a week and a half ago versus Villanova at Villanova's place. You had that team dead to rights, up 5 with a couple minutes left, and you blow that game. Then Seton Hall closes out Marquette, Teddy, on an 18-0 run, not only to blow the cover, but also blow the win. Aneem's layup with 4:43 to go gave Marquette a 64-55 lead. Then Marquette would not score again. Not a great look heading down the stretch. You want to be playing your best basketball heading into the tournament or heading into your conference tournament. Not a good look for Marquette here last night, Teddy.
No, and the issue in my mind, it almost reminds me a little bit of Oklahoma last year, where they had one superstar player in Trae Young and a bunch of guys kind of standing around watching Trae Young play. Boy, Marcus Howard does a lot for Marquette. I mean, he does everything for that team, and he's been a legitimate superstar. It looks to me like he's wearing down a little bit, and his teammates, who are so used to counting on him, unable to step up down the stretch last night. When you lose the game on an 18-0 closeout, it stinks. If you had Marquette, that certainly wasn't fun. But then again, I had San Diego State last night. Their meltdown came in the final minute when they couldn't handle a press on senior day at home. So these type of things can and do happen. 18-0 run, never fun when you're on the wrong end of it, and it closes out the game.
No, Ted, it reminds me of what's going to take place. We're going to take a look in just a few moments at the Oakland Athletics, but social media, Twitter, it's here. March Madness is here the same way baseball is coming up, because we're just right around the corner, Teddy, from having the blown bullpen meltdown alerts that circulated on Twitter. But last night, you couldn't get away from the Marquette tumble. You couldn't get away from the San Diego State tumble. And sometimes when you don't have those tickets and you survive those, you just say, my goodness, thank God I missed that. But first look today, Oakland Athletics on our march to the countdown to opening day, which is just a few weeks away here. Oakland 97-65 last year, Teddy, in 2018, heading into the 2019 season, sitting at a 33-1 ticket to win the 2019 World Series. Team total lowered. Last year they won 97 games, now taken back to 83.5. A lot of that has to do with what they're going to get out of their frontline pitching staff. Bullpen looks decent to me, Teddy, and as always with the Oakland Athletics, some pretty good young talent there that just needs to step up this year.
Yeah, I mean, it stepped up last year, and certainly a lot of guys had what people might consider unsustainable seasons. Then again, they're not being lined as a 97-win team this year. They were enormously profitable for their backers last year. The number one team in all of baseball in terms of profitability, more than 36.5 units for the season. They made money at home. They made money on the road. They made money on the run line. They were a slight over team a year ago. And it's funny, we think about the A's, at least I think about the A's. I ran into this stat. I'm like, wow, really? They've been in the playoffs now 4 times the last 7 years. They've been in the playoffs 9 times in the last 19 years. The only franchises with more playoff appearances during that span, Yankees, Cardinals, Dodgers, Red Sox, Braves. That's not a bad 5 to be behind. You say Oakland's number is the 6th best franchise over the last, this century in baseball in terms of making the playoffs. That's impressive. They've been here, and they've always they tend to be consistently undervalued. Now, there's nobody on this pitching staff, Fierce, Blackburn, Bassett, Luzardo, Estrada, that's going to raise any attention in the betting markets. So you're not going to be laying $2 with the A's every time they're home favorites. I think they may well be profitable again this year. There's lots to like about that upside lineup. And if the rotation's any good, this small market franchise will continue to be one of the better ones in MLB.
Yeah, Teddy, being an avid baseball gambler there, obviously being on the East Coast there, you have the tickets out west. I find myself watching more Oakland A's games, or just about as many Oakland A's games, than I do watching my Philadelphia Phillies on the East Coast. One of those teams, quirky ballparks that you see always getting the late, games out there at Seattle, whether it be the Seattle Mariners, the Angels matching up, always fun. But certainly, you're right about that. It's amazing when you think of what the A's have done on that limited payroll over that long-term success. We'll see if they can duplicate it this year. Overnight line movers, Teddy. Temple's on the bubble, but UConn getting the love. One of those lines that says, boy, Temple needs to win this game and probably beat UCF on Saturday to get that bid into the tournament without having to worry too much about the conference tournament making a long run. But how about this? Temple opens up at 1.5, now sitting at 2 across the board, over under, crashing on the total. Also, Teddy opens up at 145, drops to 140.5 offshore Pinnacle as well.
Yeah, I mean, the market's not enamored with Temple. And of course, Temple, is very much on the bubble. So you have the must-win teams. Sometimes the markets don't like these must-win teams. A loss tonight against UConn will take the Owls off the bubble, essentially. But Temple also could clinch one of the 4 first-round byes with a win here. UConn, they snapped their 6-game losing streak with a home win over USF on Saturday. Worth noting, 4 of the 6 losses during that streak came by 8 points or less. They've been very competitive and finally got off the schneid. That may well be a buy sign. The market's certainly seeing it that way.
Yeah, waiting for Adams to get back. If he ever gets back for UConn or in time for the conference tournament, probably not. Injured his leg early in the Temple game a couple weeks back. Just have never recovered there for UConn. Bucks Pacers total slides down a little bit, Teddy, but rebounds here. Had it at 225.5 down to 221. Now it looks like it's settling back in even higher, posted at 223 right now. Indiana Pacers, Milwaukee Bucks. We'll talk about it a little bit later in Watch What You Bet, but interesting to see the line move it dipping and then rising here in the early morning hours.
Sure, and it's not unusual to see one betting group drive the line one way and another betting group go, oh, our number was here. That's our buy sign. And they'll drive it right back the other way. I was looking for trends, angles, coaches' quotes, anything to indicate why the market went down initially. I didn't find anything. I'm not surprised. The market got bet right back up on the Pacers-Bucks total.
And how about those Bucks, Teddy? Watch What You Bet here. Watching that betting show March 7, 2019. Once again, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs. Pacers-Bucks tonight. Heavy line out there. -10, -10.5, depending where you're shopping at. Over-unders, we said, updated at 223. Moneyline split +430, -525. when you look at this game, the Bucks, rolling along in the East, having, just their good old time, go out West and struggle a little bit, including a loss to the bottom feeding Phoenix Suns, but looking to bounce back tonight with a heavy line. Pacers 33-31 against the spread on the season, 7-10 against the spread on the road. The Bucks 37-25 on the season, 10-2, Teddy, against the spread versus division foes.
Yeah, I'm not stepping in front of Milwaukee tonight. They just lost back-to-back games for the first time all season. That came after they were 19-2 in their previous 21. Obviously, we're talking about elite team. In both losses, the Bucks led by double digits in the second half. In fact, they led by 16 or more in both games. They blew a 17-point fourth quarter lead against Utah, and then let the Suns rally back from 10 points in the fourth quarter to get swept in the season series by Phoenix. Giannis, quote, "It's kind of hard to think we lost to Phoenix twice, but, ice cold shooting really was the difference. There was a story in the Suns game. No one could make a shot. Middleton was ice cold. Mirotic was ice cold. Bledsoe couldn't hit. Lopez couldn't hit. A combined 12 of 53 from the field against Phoenix. That came on the heels of a game where they couldn't stop Donovan Mitchell. The quote from Eric Bledsoe, and I like this quote. This is a bet-on quote. "We've been through it. You can't win every game. It's basketball at the end of the day. We got to move on and go to the next one." This is a Milwaukee, again, a non-successful road trip. We don't normally like teams returning home off a long swing. Bucks got this one circled a little bit. Of course, not like the Pacers are playing bad ball. This is a tough stretch for Indiana. Start of 8 road games in 8 road games in an 11-game span. Thaddeus Young, quote, "We're looking to go into some people's houses and take games. We can sustain their punches and put ourselves in position to win at the end of games. I think we'll be fine." Indiana certainly playing good defense. They shut down the hot Bulls the other night. But Pacers still playing without Domantas Sabonis, and that is an impact injury. He's missing tonight. He's expected to miss over the weekend at Philly. They've missed his production coming off the bench.
Hey, only 2 games tonight in the NBA. Thunder and the Blazers also going to clash tonight in the late game on TNT. Blazers sitting currently at -4. You can get some -4.5 depending on where you're shopping out there. Over under looks like it's updated right now, Teddy, at 233 to 233.5 money line split +150 -170. 10:30 p.m. tonight from the Moda Center in Portland, Oregon. Thunder are 33-31 against the spread on the road, 8-5 against the spread in the dog. But how about this number, Teddy? 1-10 against the spread after a division game. Blazers making money at home and also all over the place during the season. 37-27 in all line gains, 21-11 against the spread at home overall.
Yeah, and this to me is the game that we find out how sick Oklahoma City is. Thunder have not played good ball. And from a power rating standpoint, they've been top 3, top 4 in the NBA all year. And George got hurt. They didn't play well. George came back. They didn't play well. Now it's a little bit of circle the wagons time for the Thunder. And in terms of my power ratings, this game will affect my number for OKC moving forward more than most will. I think it is a statement game for the road team, which means if I'm playing, I probably want the road team. Portland head coach Terry Stotts. Both teams know it's a big game as far as playoff seeding. These 2 teams are tied for number 3 right now. They already have the tiebreaker, but it should be a good game. Damian Lillard talking about their really good road trip where they went 5-2. Well, we tried to go 6-1. We've been sharing the ball really well, executing on offense, competing on defense. We have to have the same mentality going into that game, and we'll be fine. This is a big one. It'd be a good one to get on our home floor. It should be a good game. We can't say it was a good trip. A great trip would have been 6-1. We can't say it was a good trip. A great trip would have been 6-1. But the loss to Memphis is tough. We wanted to get this one. We were in position to get it, and we didn't. But this is the part of the quote that really stood out to me. We've been playing on the road for almost 3 weeks, traveling city to city, playing tough teams. Now they got to go home. And after a long road trip like that, that always concerns me. Paul George back in the lineup for the Thunder tonight. Get the money coming in on Portland. George's quote after he was 8-25, he didn't shoot well first game back. The rhythm was off. I was a little rusty. I feel fine. As much as I was getting tugged and grabbed, the shoulder held up. I made it through okay. Yeah, I lean OKC plus the points here. I haven't pulled the trigger personally yet, but as this line creeps up, I'm getting more and more interested.
Take a look, Teddy. Top 25s clash in the American Conference on Thursday. Bring the brass knuckles out for this one. Cincinnati and UCF -2.5. Total of 127.5. Moneyline split +120, -140. Teddy, No rest for the weary in this one. There's going to be defense, and defense will be played in this one. Cincinnati 12-17 against the spread on the season. 0-2 as a dog on the road. 3-7 against the spread on the road, and 5-11, Teddy, against the spread versus the American Conference. UCF counters with 16-10 on the season as well. 9-6 against the spread in the American. But as I said, Taco Fall, Mick Cronin's boys, there will be blood tonight, Teddy. What do we think?
Yeah, there sure will. This is obviously senior night for UCF, and they're coming off. You can make it the case it was the biggest game in program history, the biggest win in program history at Houston over the weekend. Put the Knights in the top 25. The first time they've been in a poll since 2011, and I was like, all right, a little bit of hype. Now you got to do it again. First meeting between these two teams was a battle. UCF led early. Cincy rallied back late, ended up winning by 5. That's UCF's only loss over the last month. The senior, John Taylor, talking about what they learned from that game. I think the thing we learned from the last Cincinnati game is you just got to finish the game out. We were tied with them going to the last 4 minutes, and they made some plays. Tomorrow, we've got to be on the right side of those plays. Worth noting, senior night 2 years ago, same story. UCF welcomed Cincinnati. They were 15 at the time, ranked 15 at the time. And UCF came away with the outright upset win. The fans stormed the court. And by the way, you talked about defense in that game. Yeah, 102 total points in that contest. No surprise here if the winner struggles to get to 60.
Teddy, off the mic segment today. Interesting topic that came up yesterday. I think went a little bit under the radar, obviously, unless you were in the gambling world here. Major League Baseball cards to be handed into the commissioner's office before being released to the public. As you know, being a gambler, you're searching all afternoon long. When is the lineup going to come out? Maybe they need to test somebody in batting practice or give a late lineup, or one team puts a lineup out earlier. But now they must be sent into the commissioner's office. And once in the commissioner's office, Teddy, then they're going to be released to the books. So the books get a first look at the lineup cards before being released to the public. There's two things that interest me about this, because the one thing I might like about it, if there's going to be a standard time, let's just say a 7 o'clock Eastern time, first pitch. We're going to release these cards at 4:45 every single day for those. I would like that. It would save me a lot of time from having my hand attached to my phone, waiting for lineups come out to see if it's going to be a good player, if the line's going to move, or Albert Pujols or Mike Trout's going to sit this one out. But I find it to myself being a little bit cynical, saying this is not really how this is going to work. And it might be almost like a mockery of the system for the first couple months out there. It's just interesting to me, Teddy, that baseball, the one saying, take down the lines for spring training. Give us the cards first. It's from a sport that said, we're going to put our head in the sand since Pete Rose was gambling about 25 to 30 years ago. Amazes me, Teddy.
It can amaze you. You have to expect it from Major League Baseball. You shouldn't be surprised in the slightest. Recognize exactly what this is. This is a cash grab, okay? They want to make these official lineups worth something, so people will subscribe to the official MLB feed and get the official lineups ahead, and the gamblers will have to do this ahead of the media, the information being released to the media. That 15-minute window. That's a very meaningful window for professional bettors. Professional bettors will pay money to have a window with a lineup that they know and maybe everyone doesn't know. So the whole concept here is, you got to subscribe to our feed now. We'll reduce integrity risk. No. It's about money and how MLB can get a piece of your cash and my cash. Because Lord knows, those billionaire owners just aren't rich enough yet.
Nope, they certainly are. Teddy, they certainly don't have enough money that you do. But get this again, Teddy. Under 19 minutes, we got you in and out today on That Betting Show, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs at sportsbookreview.com. We'll be back tomorrow, another step closer to Major League Baseball opening day. Another few tournaments open up. A lot of fun to be had here in the month of March. He's Teddy Severansky. Give him a follow at Teddy_covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at RightSide BP. We'll see you tomorrow for another episode of That Betting Show on sportsbookreview.com.